Today on the Connect podcast, we're going to go behind the scenes. We're going to take a fun inside look at the fun, the rhythm, the life, and the people behind the scenes in ministry at the Connection Church. All right, welcome back to the Connect podcast, where every week we connect life to faith, to purpose, to community. And I say every week, but in reality, if you are a regular listener to the Connect podcast, you know it's been a couple of weeks. And that's because we actually have things going on during the week at the Connect podcast and at the Connection Church. Yeah. And sometimes it gets in the way of the Connect podcast. And so this is going to be different. We thought we'd do something fun. We're pulling back the curtain. We're going to give you an inside, exclusive, behind-the-scenes look at what really happens during the week at the Connection Church. And I've got my guy, Rowdy, here with me today, our incredible student pastor and more, and he's here to share the fun and the insights and we're going to get real, we're going to get raw about life here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think there's a lot of common misconceptions or just people not aware that things take place past a Sunday, so I'm excited to be doing this.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing that church is not just Sundays. It's not just sermons. There is a lot of fun. There's a lot of energy drinks, and there's a lot of life change that happens throughout the week, not just on Sundays.
Right.
And so I wanted us to talk about this because the other day, a couple weeks ago, there was someone who's attended the church for a while who just happened to walk into our office area, which is not an area people usually see on Sunday. They walk in and their mind was blown. And she was saying, "What's going on in here? What do y'all do here? What are all these people doing here?" And it was during the week. And she's not the only one. I've had people of all kinds who come in during the week and they look and they say, "What do y'all do? Why are all these people here?" They just never even thought about it, I suppose. So it's pretty crazy. And of course it's just normal for us.
Sure.
But it's very unusual, I think, for a lot of people to understand or to even comprehend or think about. And so we're going to give you, as best as we can, a look behind the scenes and what happens during the week, because it is a lot. And yeah, today is not going to be the necessarily dig into the Bible moment, but hopefully there's going to be some spiritual application along the way.
Yeah.
And just getting to know us a little better as well. So do you have any other intro thoughts or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, I've always got thoughts for sure. I'm excited. I think this is a new look for what takes place, and so I think you don't really know until you know.
Yeah.
And so when I jumped on staff here before that, I probably wouldn't have been aware that there are things that are happening, right? So you take like Mega Sports Camp last week, for example. Yeah. People are still in office doing things, right? Like life kind of stopped somewhat at 5:30 for Mega Sports Camp or a little before that. But there are things that we're doing throughout the week that have to continue, even on a busier than normal week like Mega Sports Camp. So I'm excited to jump into all this stuff.
Yeah. And, so many people, they make the joke that especially for pastors, like, "Oh, you only work Sunday morning," right?
Yeah.
What do you do during the week? I had that happen several weeks ago on a Monday night at my house. There were some young adults that had just started coming to church, and I assumed they knew I was the pastor, but kind of asking that question. So what do you do?
Right.
What do you do? And it's like, believe it or not, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we'll get a better understanding of that as we move forward today. But it all starts really for us on Monday morning. Monday morning is the beginning of a new week, and so there typically for pastors, Monday morning is what they call the holy hangover after a big day on Sunday. And a lot of pastors even take off, I think, on Mondays to recover.
Yeah.
But we start out, we hit it strong on Monday morning, and we get together for a team meeting on Monday mornings.
Yeah.
And so that's all of our team, our pastors, our administrative team, even support staff, whoever we can gather together,
Right.
Comes together. And we start off for quite a bit of time. We take a bit of time, and we celebrate the wins of the weekend and the previous week.
Yeah, 100%. VIPs, who do we meet? It's probably one of my favorite questions that you ask. You're so adamant about that, and your heart is that. How are we getting people that are walking in the doors for the first time? How are we getting them connected and involved in everything that's doing? So that's a big thing we talk about on Mondays.
Yeah, let me talk about that. Yeah, because that's good. That's good because a lot of people don't think that especially at a bigger church, and we're not like the biggest church, but
Sure.
there's a lot of people that come in
Right.
and out of the doors, and so like we'll have about 1,600 people here on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the discussion that we have isn't about 1,600 people. It's about the one.
Right.
It's about, did you meet this person? Oh, this person has just moved here. This person is struggling, spiritually or searching or whatever it is that we, can learn about them as we talk to them. And then we talk about them for the purpose of celebrating, for the purpose of, saying, hey, this person potentially may become a part,
Right.
an active part of
Right.
our church. We want everybody to know who they are, to be on the lookout. And so, every person is really in team meeting is supposed to go, hey, here's who I met, because
Right.
that's really our primary assignment.
That was, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about this too. But when I first jumped on staff and was a part of one of those things, those moments of like, hey, who'd you meet? I didn't have anybody. And I remember that being like, I never want to feel this feeling again.
Oh, wow.
One, I felt left out. Like nobody was upset, but it was intentional that this is a heartbeat of who we are. And I wasn't aware of that. And so I wanted to be super intentional with that. And it looks different for different people when they are talking to people and connecting people on Sundays. But a lot of that is, the importance and the heartbeat of who we are. People that are already connected, getting those people involved to connecting with new people. It's a huge thing, building ministry teams, allowing them to be a part of, the greatest building project ever, the church. So.
Yeah, and we not only do we talk about individuals, which is a big part of it.
Yes.
But also talk about, what we're celebrating, what went well, especially, salvations, baptisms.
Yes.
We celebrate those big because what's celebrated gets repeated.
That's good.
And so we'll talk about that. What are some of the things that we celebrate?
Well, the past week, right? Things that took place, and we're probably going to dive down. It's not just a Sunday conversation.
Yeah.
It's intentional that it is Monday because it's less than 12 hours later. We're talking about what took place, so it's fresh on our brains. We have notes, but it also is, hey, what happened last week? Yeah. But yes. That's
a lot of things. We rewind.
Right.
7 days and walk through the week, and so we'll talk about some of the things that happened throughout the week. We also, occasionally, and I haven't been super consistent about this. Sometimes it'll be sort of learning, some kind of content or training, leadership,
right.
Ministry, that a challenge, that kind of thing. But a lot of that comes up as we,
right.
Just as we're talking about the issues we're facing,
yeah.
things like that. So it's really supposed to be what went well, what didn't go so well, what was missing, what needs to be improved, all of those things but we really focus on the celebration more than anything, more than we should probably. And a lot of those corrective conversations, I used to try to do those in front of everyone, and sometimes you need to do it in front of everyone if it kind of involves all that. But a lot of times I like to save those for individual private conversations.
Sure.
To go, okay, here's something,
So could we give maybe an example with me?
Okay.
If you're aware there's something on a Sunday in our Monday meeting,
Yeah.
something happens. This would be handled obviously Thursday morning, but just in regards to me being in the room and using me as an example, something happens on a Wednesday night. I forget to tell you or something, right? You find out Monday. That would be an example that it specifically involves the ministry that I'm right, so it wouldn't necessarily involve everybody else in that space.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on the value of it for the whole team, or if it's something that, this is kind of wild, but if it's something that like, okay, Rowdy really needs this, this to be addressed in front of other people. That sounds kind of crazy. I feel like I'd have to unpack what that would look like, but typically that's not going to be the case. Typically that's going to be a private conversation.
Yeah.
But if people can learn, or if it's something, if it was something that, we talked about privately, but then we're like, hey, we need to talk about this with the team.
Right.
So that we can avoid this in other ministry areas, or we can improve this in other ministry areas.
Yeah. Sorry, I had tried to give you a space to run to unpack it a little smaller, but it ended up being a whole thing. But
No, that's good. That's good. And so then also, we go through calendar. So we're backing up the past week, and then we kind of look ahead. Okay, here's what's coming up for the next week, the next 2 weeks. And what we need to do. And a lot of times if there's a big event, we'll take some time for planning or for strategizing for that.
Yes.
We'll do that. And then there's a lot of just kind of fun that we have. And to me, like, people hate meetings. I get it. Nobody wants to be in more meetings, but I just prioritize. The reason I prioritize our team meeting is because we are a team.
Right.
And, everybody's got their individual assignments that they're doing, and we start running throughout the week, and we're doing all the things we got to do. But I just personally, I value us coming together and investing that time together, face to face, knowing we're doing this together. Yeah. And relating to each other in that way. That to me is just so important. Our team, it's not a super small team. I was doing this back when I had 2 other staff members.
Yeah.
But now we've grown. But and it is a significant investment of time. But I just want us to stay connected in that way. And then of course we pray. We always take time to pray together, to pray for each other, and so that's so important as well. Do you remember anything specifically from a previous staff meeting or team meeting that
I'm sure I do. I think about this past week. I'm not going to share all the details, but just a special moment, just going back to the prayer. That just sticks out to me. It's just the heart and the vulnerability of our team, I think proves and values. While I'm one of those people that doesn't like meetings, sitting in intentionally in a meeting like that does this past staff meeting reminded me again like why this matters. So that's what I would share. Just the vulnerability of our team, the openness, hey, we're going to pray with you. Sometimes it's like we haven't even taken prayer requests, but we're going to put hands on somebody and we're going to pray for them right now. I love that. So
ministry, again, you're not a first time in this conversation, but it is a battle. You're on the battlefield and you have arrows and a target on your back, and if not from other people, then from our spiritual enemy who's trying to take us out. And we've got to have each other's backs, and we've got to stand together and support each other, and that takes time, that takes words, and that we're actually encouraging each other.
There was I just popped into my mind. I was looking through my photos or Instagram or something, and I had seen something where I guess we're getting ready for Twin Oaks Ranch. At Twin Oaks Ranch, we do burgers and baptisms, and we do baptisms towards the end of the summer in August. And I guess more people were getting in or being requested to be baptized on our team, like we're baptizing. And so I just came across a boomerang or a video of you showing everybody what it's like, because it's different than a baptistry. You're standing in the water yourself.
Yeah.
And so it was just funny, one of those funny moments where just
what that's like to baptize
like you were just
in the
like
river?
I think I had posted like baptism 101. Yeah, it was in
it?
it was in the conference room. It's just one of those moments where you're like, it was funny, it was silly, it was, I think you have, one of our pastors do it, and so they knew it, but it was just funny to see them go through that.
That's funny.
Just a little funny moment.
Yeah, I actually have, strategy and all of that, I guess.
Yeah, 100%.
But we get set up, and then we say, hey, we're going to go attack the week with passion, and remember, we got to be reminded of why we do this,
right?
Or else you can get so caught up in just what we've got to do and not what we get to do. That It's an honor and a privilege to be able to serve. I always think, not to disparage any other occupation,
right?
But I think, man, I could be out there, we're digging ditches or something like that,
Right.
And so I'm so thankful for my calling, and there's different challenges in different occupations.
100%.
But yeah, it's also when we talk about alignment, just to talk about alignment, we all want to be moving forward together, because when things start getting off just a hair, if you get off just a centimeter in moving forward together, then, as you move further down the road, you end up being farther and farther apart. So trying to keep us all reminded about what's most important, what are the priorities, why do we do what we do.
That's good.
So that's Monday morning team meeting. And then, if we talk about just the weekly rhythm, so Monday we kind of call it Meeting Monday, because definitely morning is pretty much full of meetings. Maybe there's some meetings in the afternoon as well. What else happens? What would you say on a Monday?
Monday, meetings wrap up there, depending on if we're in the school year, if we're in the summertime, other prep for other things happening that week, just the space itself. Whether it's tables or
because we have the school up here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so we're prepping for that. Also, something people don't think about, and we think obviously, but on Sunday, we get connection cards.
Yes.
Sometimes those are digital. Online. Sometimes they're physical cards. And so we enter all of those cards into our database, and then we respond. Every first-time guest gets an email.
Yes.
Every first-time guest gets a letter, and you don't get much fun mail, personal mail. Usually the mail we get is more, is from businesses. I guess you could look at this as a business, but really we want to keep it very personal.
Sure.
And when we send the email, there's a link in the email with a survey saying what did you notice first? What did you like the best? Or do you have any issues? Anything? How can we pray for you?
Yeah.
And so everybody gets those emails. Some people will respond, give us feedback.
Yeah.
Usually the feedback isn't how great the sermon is. Usually the feedback is they notice me in the parking lot. People notice me, and they talk about just feeling welcome and seen. So that's what's so exciting about that. So that's Monday.
Every first-time guest gets a phone call too.
Yeah, we call. That is something that is just, I think a lot of people don't expect to get, and of course, a lot of times
so they don't answer.
Yeah, a lot of times when you're getting calls from people you don't know, we just have grown used to not answering the phone, and just sending it to voicemail. So we leave a lot of voicemails, but sometimes people pick up, and we have great conversations, and then over the course of several phone calls, then all of a sudden, there's a connection that takes place that would not happen otherwise. So it's not just one call. We're doing multiple calls to people, and we found that to be just very impactful and So
office doors close on a Monday at 4, and then we're done, right? This building is not being used.
That's the thing, is that we use this building in multiple ways,
Right.
in multiple settings, multiple times throughout the week. I would say we get the most bang for our buck out of this building, out of, in San Marcos. I mean, whatever facilities we have, we utilize them so that on Monday night we have our recovery ministry that's going on up here, and so that's the Genesis process, and that happens on Tuesday. We have creative team meeting many times where we're talking about planning our services. What are those going to look like? What's the big ideas and the emphasis there? Tuesday night there's rehearsal up here. Wednesday we've got you can talk about that.
Student ministry prep for sure. Well, right now we're in summer, so we have student interns that are up here. We have a student internship program.
Let's talk about that.
I'd love to talk about it. So we have about 24 summer interns, teenagers 6th through 12th grade, and so my schedule is a little different than it usually is inside the summer because they're here Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So student ministry prep, we are getting ready for a Wednesday night, and that's different inside of our school year or a summer. So now we have a little more space and time to prep earlier. And so they'll be up here tomorrow or today. I'm sorry, my days are all messed up. They'll be up here later today, and we'll run through that. And it's a lot of, at this point, we've communicated with parents. They've reached out to their friends. They've reached out to similar database system that we use for teenagers as well. So teenagers reach out to teenagers, and just getting this space ready for teenagers to show up, whether that's video games in one of our lobbies, moving back chairs, because our teenagers are wild and I love it. They love to be up close in front for worship. So just creating that space. Teams will be in here this evening at 5:30 to start run through. We'll do student leadership. Just prepping, whether it's meetings. We have a rally time meeting for our leaders, so we'll prep that. Sermon's already done by Monday, so it's put in and ready to go. Lyrics, same thing. So we'll just start prepping for a service for Wednesday night.
Yeah, and then as we move into Thursday, on Thursday morning, it's really wild up here because we've got volunteers who come in. They're getting the worship center ready.
Yep.
They're serving in the office, getting whatever kind of handouts we got going on, or kids materials.
Right.
I mean, all kinds of stuff. So it's really wild up here on Thursdays, and just kind of getting things pulled together for the weekend. Technically, Friday is supposed to be day off.
Yep.
But that's very flex. It's kind of flex Friday.
Sure.
Because there's very few Fridays where we're not doing anything.
Right.
There's usually more happening, and then Sunday is game day, and so. All of this stuff takes a lot of discussions. It takes a lot of planning.
Prayer team.
We got Saturday. Well, Saturday you got Men of Steel.
Right.
Every other Saturday you got women's Bible studies.
Yeah.
The other Saturdays you got prayer meeting on Saturday at 7, which I'd encourage you if you're listening. You are listening. Come up and check out prayer meeting on Saturday night.
Absolutely.
What we do. I mean, prayer meeting typically, if you talk about kind of traditional church prayer meeting, people come up and they pray for Aunt Edna's big toe or whatever it is.
Right.
And what we're praying for is we're praying for mission. We're praying for lives to be changed, and praying specifically for what God is doing through our church. And then at the end of that, we do take time to sort of prayer requests and pray personally over some of those issues, but it's really focused on the bigger picture of what God is doing in our world. And that's a big thing. So let's talk about our our team a little bit, I would just want to say that I feel like from churches that I've seen, many times the staff sort of becomes a means to an end to fulfill the pastor's vision in a sense, and people can become expendable, where we start using people for our purpose. And my heart is that I really do see us as a family. We have, and I would put our team against any. Also, our tenure, our longevity here as a team. People first. We don't have any hired guns. We don't typically bring people from the outside and go. What do they call those? You got headhunters or whatever, and you're looking for people from other churches or other places that you bring in. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm sure that works in some places. But for us, what's most important is that our team has our heart and has our DNA.
Yep.
And so what we found is that works best when we raise people up from within.
Yes.
And that's the majority of our team.
Right.
And most of them, when you do that, they're more likely to stay.
Right.
Because they're not just looking at climbing that career ladder and going on to using the church to go on to the next, their next step. Instead, it's like, hey, we're here, we're called to this place.
Right.
And we want God's purpose and the full potential, full redemptive potential, to be lived out here. And I say that I do think it's okay, to send people out. I think the church should raise people up and send them out.
Right.
It's just we love our people so much that we really don't necessarily let them go easily. So we hold on to them. And in that way, we are more like a family. And I've told you this, like I heard a local, somewhat local pastor say, we don't call our staff family anymore because sometimes you have to fire family. And I don't want to, so we don't do that. And I just feel like it's worth it to be a family.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more. It does come with interesting dynamics for sure. But I think when you have that mindset that we're a family, we do this together, we're in the trenches together, the fights are different. Not that they don't happen, but at the end of the day, you leave the room and you say, this is my family. Like we're a part of this. We're fighting. Ultimately, you find out that we're actually fighting for the same thing, you know? And so it gets kind of like, well, we didn't promote this. We didn't promote, like you get into that, but at the end of the day, it's like, we're all advancing the kingdom or attempting to. And so it allows you to fight with grace. It allows you to fight with compassion. And passion.
And it also takes away from, hey, this is territorialism.
Right.
You're like, this is my area. It's like, no, all of this is all of our areas. There's a lot of crossover on our team where we pitch in to help each other, especially on the big events and things like that. So there's nothing, we say anything, everything, nothing at all. So I don't know if you have any of these kind of insights of what we said we were going to talk about here. Do you have any? Family nicknames. Do you have some of those?
Well, yours like Pastor Swole.
Oh,
yours is just that's always and PC. I feel like PC is kind of been a thing. That's it. Inside jokes. I told you this the other day. You'll hear people. I don't know how to share this. You know what I'm going to say?
No. What is
this? This is scary for you.
No, not at all.
You'll hear people talk, and if I'm in the room, and maybe it's everybody, but I'm the only one that sees this part. You'll look at me, and it reminds me of like Michael Scott from The Office. You just glance off.
Well, another thing that I just remembered, we were talking about this in staff meeting yesterday, but on staff, Lauren, working kind of as her role as administrator and all of this. Many people think she is my daughter.
Oh yeah,
or that I have 3 daughters. So So you're talking about family.
Yeah.
There's a lot of family dynamics there. So have you learned anything unexpected about the team?
Uh, no, I mean, it was different than what I was expecting for sure. Just the dynamics, a lot of jokes, a lot of moments of being serious and on point. I think the toughest thing about that is the different people's emotions and dealing with that and how I can say a joke with somebody else, but I gotta, I've learned that the hard way for sure.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting and unique to try to build through fun all the same.
Yeah.
But
not everybody has the same sense of humor.
Right.
Or a sense of humor. But, Ecclesiastes 4:9 says 2 are better than 1.
Yes.
And because if one falls, who's going to pick them up? How can one person keep themselves warm?
It's good.
And so, we know we're better together.
Right.
And, I just look at our team, even though, we don't have a bunch of people on our staff who've, seminary educated or whatever. But I know that they have a relationship with the Lord. They are growing, and they're called, they're committed. And I just think, it's a testimony to the world to go, hey, if God can use them, use us to do this, to do something significant for His kingdom, they know it's God. They know that it's God at work through us, and that's evident. So like I said, the building is in constant use, and this is a ministry center, a mission center hub as much as as much as whatever happens on Sunday. It's ongoing.
Right. Yeah, we do a lot.
Yeah.
And you can take one of two stances and ideas on that. Is first one being like, man, we need to cut some stuff out, right? Or the second option is we're just going to keep doing the things and build a team alongside of us that can do these things with us. And I think my favorite thing, I think the first time I heard you say this was at the heart of the pandemic that should not be named. You said that what good is a church if its doors aren't open? And I think that just is kind of translated to, why do y'all do so many things? Well, what good is a church if its doors aren't open, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's not, now if we're talking like 2:00 in the morning, okay, we got to draw some lines and some boundaries, but I love that the office hours are, till 4 p.m., but things are happening far past that.
Oh, yeah.
And God is moving in all of it. And so.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just like a relay race where we're like, tag, you're it. And it goes from one thing to the next. It's not all of us all the time.
Right.
But something is always happening. And, people will come in during the week. We'll have people who come in for the first time. We had, I don't know if we mentioned this on the podcast a while back, but several weeks ago, we had a young couple that just came at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Thinking that we're going to have church here on a Tuesday or something along those lines, have a service. I was talking to these guys when they were saying, what is it that you do? And so I was trying to explain, beyond just preaching a sermon, the different sort of hats that pastors wear. And I guess people don't really think about it, but yes, there is the teaching aspect, which for every moment that you're standing up speaking, there's actually some preparation that goes behind that.
Really?
Yeah, you study. In theory, you're studying and you're thinking and you're maybe writing, things like that. But we also fulfill the role many times of a counselor. Mm-hmm. We're not professional counselors in that sense.
Right.
But if you know God's word, then you're able to share that with people.
Right.
And to me, that's the best counsel you can give someone is
Correct.
the Word of God. And so people will come to us. We'll set up appointments. We will help them in what they're facing, what they're dealing with. And many times that would be in the area of marriage as well.
Yeah.
If we're going to marry somebody, if we're going to do a wedding,
Yep.
then we require 6 weeks of premarital counseling that
Right.
we take people through, which is invaluable.
Right.
It's so I would highly recommend that. And so we'll do that kind of counseling, or people will just be facing crisis, and we'll be doing counseling that way. There's also sort of the social worker hat that because of the benevolent needs.
Right.
The other day, I was leaving from the church. I guess I'll tell this story. I was leaving at around. I was going home real quick before Mega Sports Camp, and I thought I'm going to get out of here. And as I did, one of our more homeless type friends was walking up toward the church.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to spin around, pick him up, see if he needs a ride home. And he needed to go by the food bank. So, I had that experience, taking him through the food bank and then so there's some of those unexpected things that we're doing as well. There's also, there is a business aspect to the church, and the pastor's role, especially in my seat as lead pastor, it's sort of like chief vision caster, chief fundraiser for the church. This does require money, and that is just a reality, as much as we might wish it wasn't.
Right.
And of course, God has provided a strategy for that to work. And if people just followed God's plan on that, then this would be easy. But, we reach a lot of people who haven't been in church before. They don't have, they don't really have their finances in order. And so it's our responsibility to teach that and to help them in that area. I don't know. There's just a lot of hats. I've got many more kind of listed here. You've certainly got pastoral areas like hospitals, and grieving and all of those areas as well. What is there?
Yeah, I think also, and maybe this could kind of be summed up in all of it, but while specifically in my area, like Wednesday night students, you're still heavily involved in that, right? Like there's conversations, there's, hey, what's happening? What does this look like? I think that's a big part of it.
That's true. I mean, there's leading a team.
Sure.
You're leading a team of people, and all of us have teams of people that then we're responsible for as we move forward. And for student ministry, a lot of people think of student ministry as being, hey, I work with teenagers.
Right.
But there's a lot of student ministry is working with parents.
Yeah, I'm a parent pastor. I'm not a student pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
100%.
There's so many more things
100%.
That go into that. We have events, so you're doing event planning.
Right.
And I think, the way I'm wired, that works real well for me. I mean, as much as I wish I could just, sit in my office and write sermons and study and things like that, to me, and here's another thing, I haven't talked about this in a long time, but, people who get up and preach on stage, people think, oh, you must love the spotlight, or you love standing up in front of people and talking to people and all of that. And that's fine. I don't mind that, but that's not really the thing that fires me up. The thing that fires me up is the individual lives that are changed and just helping our church to continue to grow, to be effective, to take next steps. And part of the responsibility I have in that is, yes, I know a lot of the vision casting, it comes from the stage. A lot of the teaching that is necessary for people to know God's word comes from the stage, all of that. But that's not the thing that just, drives me. The 100%. Thing that drives me is the people and helping our church to be healthy.
Yes.
More than anything. All right. I got some rapid fire questions for you, Rowdy.
Let's do it.
What is your favorite moment from a student night?
Too many to count, but I'll go with something more recent. So we have a good sized number of teenagers that are showing up on Wednesday nights, and I think that the coolest thing is watching two of our high level leaders, summer interns this year. They just graduated high school. Josiah and Jackson, if they're watching, shout out to them. So last year we started where I don't step foot on stage other than to MC or host in the summer. They preach the messages the entire summer, and so when they started doing that, it was really cool to see the numbers not fluctuate when they jumped on stage to preach. So seeing a sea of young people hearing from one of their peers deliver the greatest story ever told would probably stay up there as one of the highest moments for a while.
We're just praying for those guys that they're going to keep on the path, keep developing, because they are world changers.
100%.
World-class communicators.
100%. I'm actually, yesterday, Josiah preached, and I got to go check him out at a separate
That's
camp.
Incredible.
So he's doing fantastic.
Man, that was incredible because I'm sure so many kids responded.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay, and then what snacks keep you going on a long day?
So typically... It's either chips and Dr. Pepper, maybe some beef jerky. Wednesdays, I tend to forget to eat.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
That doesn't happen to me very often.
Yeah. It usually doesn't happen to me until Wednesdays hit. So chips, Dr. Pepper, beef jerky, occasional Red Bull.
Okay.
We're good to rock.
Very good. That's awesome. Well,
am I supposed to be asking these back to you?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just asking you.
Okay. Just making sure.
I'm just asking you. Yeah, if I could swap jobs, I mean, in my heart, I've always wanted to be a worship leader. I would, that would be my.
You are.
Well, yeah, I am. But I love music, and so if I had felt like, if that had been my calling first, that would have been the thing. But also, I had that, all that was necessary for that. I might have pursued that. But I've got, especially did you know I was a student pastor for 12 years, Ronnie?
I did not know that. Could you share with us?
Well, as a student pastor, especially, I mean, I got to wear all the hats. I got to be worship leader and then all the other.
They don't let me do that. They don't let me lead worship on
Wednesday
nights. I don't know what's going on.
I actually had a dream, I think last night, of you singing.
You mean a nightmare?
It was good. You were good. You were great. It was amazing. I forget what the context of that was, but some kind of maybe I was leading and I don't know. Anyway, listen, whether you have been around the Connection Church for years or you are brand new, what I hope that you'll know today is that we got a whole team of real people who are behind the scenes, who are sold out for Jesus. They love Jesus and they love people, and that includes you. And that's why we do what we do, because we believe in what God is doing through the Connection Church, and we also know that we are just getting started. Like, this is the beginning. We're 20 years into this thing, but we still have a hunger. We still have a passion. We believe the best is still ahead. And so I just want to ask you to be praying for us. Be praying for our team. Be praying because the struggle is real, and ministry can get overwhelming. And there are a lot of people, as you follow the news, you see in our world, ministers, pastors, they crash and burn. And, you can say, well, that's because they're compromised and they're doing this and that. But there's also a lot of pressure that people don't see,
right?
That they're facing. And so be in prayer for us, and then also join us. Find your place on the team. Get connected. Serve alongside of us. There's a place for you. And if you want to know more about what we're all about and how you can really grow in your faith, and I really encourage you to come to Kickstart. I think we've got we may have 3 more weeks in this. We got 4, 5, and 6, I think, still coming. You're welcome to come and join us this Sunday at 9 a.m. In Buda, or I think it's like at noon in San Marcos. Just come alongside of us, and I want to thank you today. It's been a lot of fun.
I've had fun.
Yeah, thanks for listening to this behind the scenes episode. We'll do something more normal when we pick this back up in a week or two. And if you have enjoyed this episode, I would encourage you to let somebody know about the Connect podcast. Share it with a friend. And this Sunday, we're continuing our series on being bold. And that's really hit some good nerves of going, yes, this is what we need. This is our word of the year. And so stick with us with everything that we're doing on our socials. Like and subscribe, follow, and we will see you really soon. Have a great week.